We have capitalized on the best contracting, logistics, and planning experts available to synchronize and integrate all phases of the operation, from development of the vaccine, manufacturing of the vaccine, and finally distribution of the vaccine. We need the states who are part of the planning to accept the vaccine.
As soon as April, the vaccine will be available to the entire general population. With the exception of places like New York State, we won't be delivering it to New York until we have authorization.
President, Operation Warp Speed, this as the number of cases, the hospitalizations, first of all, continue to go up. You can see this November 12th, 67,000 tied to the coronavirus, according to the COVID tracking project, and also the cases now at about 10.7 million in the U.S. U.S. deaths over 243,000, and there you see the global cases and deaths. This, as the president said, his administration is not going to lock down.
According to some estimates, a national lockdown costs $50 billion a day and hundreds of thousands of jobs every single day. Ideally, we won't go to a lockdown. I will not go. This administration will not be going to a lockdown. Hopefully, whatever happens in the future, who knows which administration it will be. I guess time will tell. But I can tell you this administration will not go to a lockdown.
All right, with that, let's bring in our panel. Bill Bennett, former Education Secretary, host of the Bill Bennett Show podcast, and Leslie Marshall, Democratic strategist. We welcome you both. Bill, you heard the president there kind of catch himself and say, we'll see what the next administration, well, this administration is not going to lock down. Your thoughts about where we are now as this fight continues across the country about the election results?
Well, I thought he was pretty even-handed, saying, yeah, you know, we don't know the final result, hasn't been certified yet, and these challenges are right. But look, this is America. We are in a 49-49 nation. That's a 49% versus 49% nation, Michael Barone's phrase from 20 years ago, still true today. So any important issue is going to get politicized. The problem is the consequences of politicizing it the way it has been. The president was right about Cuomo. Cuomo said he wouldn't trust a decision coming down, an approval coming down from the Trump administration, unless it was certified by others. Of course it's going to be certified by others. It has to go through FDA and a rigorous kind of testing. I'm a little concerned, too, about Pfizer not saying that it was the beneficiary of some of these funds. You know, are they that big that they can mislay or not count hundreds of millions of dollars, $1 billion maybe, that might be coming in? But the real concern is about the lockdowns. That's the challenge. And we know that the sentiment on the part of many Democrat governors is for lockdown, despite the fact, and again, I think the president is right, that the cure is worse than the disease. The cure is worse than the problem in many cases, and we can cite those at great length.
Leslie, Operation Warp Speed, no matter your politics, your ideology, you have to be impressed with what has happened and what has transpired up until now. And obviously, this administration is going to hand that ball over to the next administration. Your thoughts on where we are?
Well, first of all, Pfizer says they were not part of Operation Warp Speed, but I do agree just what we look at with scientists and with chemists and the speed at which this has come, and we know how long it can take, years for vaccines, is truly amazing. But, you know, you talk about passing from this administration to the next, and that's part of the problem with politicizing this virus, COVID-19, Brett. I mean, Joe Biden and his administration, a vice president and now President-elect Biden, is not getting the information his team needs to have the torch pass, not just for a peaceful transition of power, but for the people. The bottom line here is not just the economy. The bottom line here is healthcare workers, hospitals, ICUs that are overburdened. What is that going to be in the future? Right now, Italy is doing respiratory issues with patients that have COVID in their cars. Is that where the United States is headed? We need to come together not only as a nation, and I think one of the reasons that Joe Biden was elected is not just that message of unity, but trying to depoliticize this virus. The virus doesn't care who you voted for. It doesn't care what state you live in and what color that state is. Again, the bottom line is wearing a mask doesn't mean that you're a Democrat or Republican. Not wearing one doesn't mean you're a Democrat or Republican. We, the people, have a responsibility in this as well, but also our government to work with the next incoming administration, as well as to work with scientists and as well as to work with medical professionals. One last thing quickly. Lockdown would have worked if we look at all the other countries had we done it at the onset. Now it's probably too late.
Yeah, I don't
well,
know. You've had the WHO and you have Fauci saying that they don't really recommend lockdowns for a number of other reasons. Bill, you were going to say?
Yeah, well, that's right. Anthony Fauci has said that. President Fauci have had some disagreements. But Fauci has said, no, we don't want to go to lockdown. Lockdown's not the solution. That's clear. I don't know what information Leslie's talking about that wouldn't be transmitted and given to the people who are in the healthcare industry, the nurses and so on. The president has made it plain, his people have made it plain, the people who will get this first, who will get the vaccine first. Again, Fauci says that's we're on the brink of that. That's going to happen soon, quite soon. Will be the people in hospitals who are those healthcare workers and the people who are most at risk. And everybody knows that. Then it will be distributed broadly to the population. Credit has to be given here to the president for Operation Warp Speed. And Pfizer made a mistake in saying that it wasn't the beneficiary of it. They were the beneficiary of it.
I would say that the consensus on the advisory board is that we really don't want to be talking about lockdowns and shutdowns. That's far too draconian and non-specific of a measure here.
Leslie, do we think that in January 21st, there's going to be a dramatic shift in the way this country deals with COVID-19?
Absolutely. And you know, Bill, what I was talking about is not who is getting the vaccines. It is having one administration sit down, the outgoing administration sit down with the incoming administration and say, here's where we stand. Here's what's going on. President-elect Joe Biden and his team shouldn't have to get information from Googling it or on Twitter. As far as your question, Brett, absolutely. We're already hearing about a mask mandate. The CDC now says, in addition to protecting others by us wearing masks, it could also protect ourselves. And they're finding out more and more. A lot of people keep saying, oh, well, Fauci said this 4 months ago. You know, we are so fluid right now when it comes to this virus, and the medical profession is learning something nearly hourly about this virus. And we are going to see between now and the middle of January more information about the virus and certainly a very different way of handling it. I think we're already seeing that with the way both spoke today. Donald Trump and Joe Biden spoke very differently about this.
Right. Lockdowns are not winning on the solution front on either side, it seems. Right. All right, let's finish up with winners and losers. Bill, winner and then loser.
Winners, Elise Stefanik from the North Country up in New York State, the Adirondacks, where I used to tramp as a boy, organized and led a group of Republican women to get into the Congress. And despite some predictions on TV that night that Democrats would increase their margin, Republicans have increased their margin. Picture up on the screen shows this is what you might call the R squad, the Republican squad. And they'll be a very good match, more than a match, I think, for the others. So they're the winners. Congratulations to them. You want losers too now?
Loser, sure, yeah.
Losers, kids in school, my gosh. You know, the numbers of kids who have died from this virus is in the double digits, not the double hundreds or thousands, the double digits, and they all had underlying conditions. Nevertheless, it looks now like they're going to lock down New York, Detroit, other cities. Meanwhile, these kids are suffering from all sorts of problems, academic deprivation, mental illness, child abuse, all sorts of other things. But if there is a Biden administration, Mrs. Biden, a member of the National Education Association, will take the side of the unions, I suppose, and not the kids. Shame, shame.
All right, Leslie, quick winner and loser.
Okay, winner, Pfizer. Coming up with a vaccine so fast could be a major game changer in our lives with COVID-19. Loser, Office of the Director of National Intelligence, who will not share national intelligence or security briefings with the president-elect Joe Biden.
Republicans increasingly calling for that to happen. We were supposed to have Jason Miller. He didn't make it, but we liked you two. Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend.
We like you
When
too.
we come